Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're in the kitchen again this afternoon, and today we are actually going to make a Yule Log Cake. Now that's because it's actually really close to the holidays. In fact, Christmas Eve is Saturday, and this is very much not a week in advance. So we have to do this, we have to do it fairly quick because it has to set overnight because I'm going to fill it with ice cream. So it doesn't take much, and it's actually a lot of fun to make. You just have to take a couple of basic steps to make sure you do exactly what you're supposed to do, and so it turns out. The first thing you need is a cookie sheet. It has to have edges all the way around, so you can't have one of those that has any gaps. So this is just my normal cookie sheet that I use for cookies. You're also going to need a piece of parchment paper, not wax paper. Wax paper is going to burn. It's going to set on fire in your oven. No wax paper, parchment paper. You want to take your parchment paper, put it over top of your cookie sheet, just like so. So it's about centered. Then you're going to want to take a cooking spray. I'm just using a regular canola oil cooking spray. And give that a light spritz. You do not want this sticking. Okay? Just a light spritz because parchment paper doesn't stick too badly anyway. But you don't want this sticking at all. Now you're going to set that aside. The next thing we want to do is combine our dry ingredients. So we're going to take just a bowl, just a little bowl, right? Just a bowl. Oh, no, that's just a crack. It's fine. The bowl's not actually cracked, it's just the surfaces. So we're going to take a small bowl. We don't need a very large bowl. And we're going to mix some dry ingredients. We're going to do half a cup of flour, just regular flour. This is a Yule Log Cake, so we need regular flour. It's delicious with regular flour. We're also going to need a quarter cup of cocoa powder. Pop that in there. Ta-da! Popped in. We will need a quarter teaspoon of salt. Boop. And we will need about a full teaspoon of baking powder. Don't jip on the baking powder. There we go. Don't skimp on that baking powder. Do not skimp on it. There we go. Now you're going to mix those together. Boop, boop. There you go. This is easy. This part's easy. We don't care. There you go. Don't care is easy. There you go. Done that part. Set that aside. Don't need that anymore. Here's where things get a little bit sometimes annoying. Okay? You need 2 bowls. So you actually need 3 bowls, oddly enough. So you need 1 little tiny bowl for cracking your eggs. You need 1 big bowl for egg yolk. And you need a smaller bowl for egg whites. You also need 4 eggs. Okay, there's 4 of these eggs. You'll notice these are store-bought eggs. That's because my chickens suck. It's also minus 30 outside, 30 below outside right now. But my chickens still suck. So I'm using store-bought eggs because they suck right now. This is not fun. Anyway, not the point. So one at a time, we're going to crack our eggs. Be gentle. It's really important that you're gentle because you don't want to break these yolks. This is where I have sometimes a problem. So we're going to take the yolks out. I use my fingers because it's a lot easier to separate them. Yolks go in the big bowl. Whites go in the slightly smaller bowl. Okay, you're going to do that 4 times because you want 4 eggs. I'm cracking on a flat surface because it's easier to not break the yolk if you're on a flat surface as opposed to using the edge of a bowl. Edge of the bowl often cracks that yolk and you don't want to break that yolk. So you just want to lift that yolk out. Sometimes you have to use the other hand to pull some of that white away. Don't get yolk in your white. There you go. There's 2. There we go. 3rd egg. Gently remember, try really hard not to break those yolks. Gentle, gentle. Scoop that one out. Yay! 3. 1 more. Ooh, that was a nasty break. Okay, ooh, almost broke that yolk. That wouldn't be good. We don't want to waste eggs, and we don't want to end up with this going all screwy. Okay, so 4 yolks in one bowl, 4 whites in the other. You can get rid of this bowl and rinse your hands. Now, it is worth it it is to separate your eggs that way. Put that one aside. We just need this one. But that way you don't end up with such a mess, and it's really, really quick. You just have to get your hands gooey. Doesn't matter, you can rinse your hands off later. So now what we're going to do is we are going to beat our egg whites until they're foamy. Okay, just until they're foamy. I will turn the volume down when I use the beater, but I'm using the whisk attachment, not the beaters, simply because it works better for getting your egg whites the way they need to go. So you're going to start with this. You're going to whip just until they're foamy. Then you're going to stop for a minute. Now that looks nice and foamy, doesn't it? That's what you want. Now we have 3/4 of a cup of sugar here. We're only going to add around half of it. You don't have to be too precise, but we're going to add it gradually, very gradually, and we're going to continue to beat this at a fairly high speed because we want stiff peaks to form. Nice stiff peaks. I'm going to add half of my sugar. I'm going to do it gradually. I'm going to turn the volume down so you're not irritated by the sound of this thing. And we're going to slowly watch stiff peaks form. This can take a few minutes depending on the speed of your whisk attachment. Can you do this by hand? Sure, it just takes a lot longer. Okay, so it is totally okay to use your mixer because that's what I'm doing. I'm just doing it that way. So remember, you have 3/4 of a cup of sugar, add half of it, but do it gradually. Don't just dump it in. You want time for the sugar to dissolve in the egg whites. So it's okay to stop and check how your egg whites are doing. That's a soft peak. You notice how you take that, pull it out. If the peak flops over, that's a soft peak. So we're not quite done beating. We need stiff peaks. So we have to go another minute or so. Again, if you're not sure, stop and check. See, they're still kind of soft, but they're getting stiffer. Always stop and check if you're not sure. See, not quite a stiff peak. Getting there. There, and you see how they stand up? Now, yeah, they flop over a little bit. That's just because they're thin. See, that's a nice stiff peak. Look at that. That's perfect. Perfection. There we go. We're going to set them aside. Okay, Now what we want to do is get our large bowl that had our egg yolks in it. Okay, we want to add the sugar, but first we're going to beat them a little bit until they're kind of thick, and then we're going to add the sugar right after, and then beat them together. There we go. So that only takes a minute. You know, they just have to be a little bit thickened. Add the rest of your sugar. You can add it all at once. It was only with the egg whites that you have to be careful. You also want to add a little bit of vanilla. You don't need much. You only need about a teaspoon. There you go. Just a bit of a teaspoon there. Now we're going to beat this until it's nice and thick. This won't take long. See, that's pretty good there. You just need to make sure they're well combined and a little thickened. Now we're going to take 2 tablespoons of water and add just 2 tablespoons of water. You don't need much water. This is actually plenty of liquid for this cake. We just need a little bit of water just so that we make sure that our cake is not too dense. Now we're just going to beat that together only for about 30 seconds. Okay, we do not need the mixer anymore. From here on in, we do it by hand. There's a reason. So what we're going to do is we are going to gently fold our flour mixture that we made a few minutes ago into our eggs here. So kind of dump it on the side, so you're not dumping it a huge chunk in the middle. Dump it on the side, and then you're just going to fold it together gently. Remember, you have put some air into the egg yolk as well as the egg white. So you just want to be gentle about folding it in. Very, very gentle. There we go. Okay, we just want to be gentle. You're not going to get it all combined because this isn't actually enough liquid to moisten all your flour. And that's because the rest of our liquid content is actually here. So what we're going to do is we are going to take these guys, just slide them out gently, gently, gently. Just gently transfer them from one bowl to another. Okay, gently. You don't want to deflate your egg white. Okay? So what you want to do is just carefully, gently combine this until you have a batter. You don't want your egg white to get all gooey and deflated. You want it to have a little poof, but you also want to combine it. So get down into the bottom, just do it gently and slowly. If you go too fast, you're going to destroy all the air that you've since put into your batter here. So gently fold it in together, and it really is folding. You really are folding. Let's keep folding it. This may take a few minutes. That's okay. We're not in a rush. So your oven should be preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Not hotter than that. We don't want to cook this too fast. Okay, we want this to cook slowly. So not too fast. We want 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It's only going to need about 20 or 22 minutes to cook. It really doesn't need that much time because it's actually going to be quite thin. We're going to put it in the pan we prepared. So you just want to get down into the middle, into the sides, just to make sure you got everything. But gently, remember, gently. You don't, see, look at how nice and fluffy it still is. That's what we want. Okay. We're doing pretty well. Just checking to make sure I got everything off the bottom. Looks like I did. So our batter's pretty well mixed at this point. So now what we have to do, set this aside for a second. Get our pan again. We're going to get our pan. And we're going to put our batter directly into this pan because we want a nice long cake roll that we can roll up after it's baked. So just start at one end. Just kind of pour it down. You want to get all of that. That's why I'm using a silicone scraper here, because it helps me get all of this batter out. That's what you want. You want all of that batter. You don't want to leave any behind because you need it all. You really need it all. So you just scrape that out. Get all that batter. There we go. Now what we're going to do is very gently, again, you have to treat this batter gently. Push this batter to the edges of your pan, nice and gentle. Push that down with your spatula. It just helps get into the corners. You just want to spread that out. Push the batter. This is why we sprayed, because this batter does tend to be a sticky one. So remember, you want an equal thickness throughout. It does help if you pre-push the liner down. So remember, equal thickness. You don't want some areas that are really thin. Spend some time really mucking with it. But remember to be gentle. You don't want to deflate your batter. And remember, your oven should be at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Push that. Just like that. Give it a push. There we go. And we just want to push more to this side. It doesn't flow a lot, which is actually a good thing. That means your egg whites are holding their structure. So you do need to push it. Gently, though. Remember, there's no right or wrong, really. You just kind of push your batter around until it looks good to you. Okay, so I want a little more over here because I have a lot over here and it's a little thinner at this end. So you just do it until it looks good to you. It doesn't matter. You're baking. You're not trying to win a Nobel Prize or anything. You're just moving your batter around. Here we go. Now you don't want to skimp on your batter. So make sure you get it all over the place and make sure you got all of it out of your bowl. If there's still some sitting in your bowl, you're going to want to go back and get it. But I don't have that problem right now. So if you have a spot that's a little thinner, just move the batter onto it. There we go. So that's looking really nice now. Just use my finger to scrape some of that batter off. I don't like leaving batter behind. There we go. And now something you want to do. You need to get some of the air distributed a little bit better. So you need to be gentle because remember, we want the air to stay in those egg whites. We absolutely want the air to stay in there. So we're just going to gently tap, not like a regular cake that we'd really smack to get the air to come out. We want the air in there. So gently tap. Very, very gentle. Give it a little shake. Very gentle though. You need to be very gentle with this. Now we're going to put it in the oven for about 20 to 22 minutes. You want to make sure it is thoroughly cooked, but you don't want it to overcook or you'll have difficulty rolling it up. So we're going to stick it in the oven for about 20 minutes. Check it. If it needs 2 more minutes, then we're going to let it do that. So we're going to stick it in the oven. Pay attention. This is easy to overcook. So put it in the oven, but watch it. Don't wander off. All right, so our cake just came out of the oven. From here, you have to work quickly. Remember that the pan itself is really hot. So when you do have to handle the pan, you need gloves. okay? You have to work quickly to get this out, flipped, rolled, and set, because it could very well start coming apart on you. It's hot. Okay. Working when it's hot, you need some icing sugar. I'm going to do this. You want full coverage. This will help keep it from sticking. You need nearby a clean tea towel, very clean tea towel. Make sure you have a clean tea towel and a cutting board or other solid surface to put over this so that you can flip it onto something. Be generous with the icing sugar. The icing sugar will help keep it from sticking to the tea towel we're about to use. Okay. We're going to take our clean tea towel, unfold it. Now we want to put it over this. Now we want these edges of the parchment paper to fold out. So you might have to play with it a bit. I lay it down and then worry about it. I worry about making sure I'm inside that parchment paper. Just because you do need to be inside the parchment paper with your tea towel so you can flip it over without too many problems. If you're outside that parchment paper, you're going to have a problem. Remember, this is really hot. I'm just going to move it this way just so it's a little more centered. This is really, really hot. Remember that. Okay? Very, 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 very hot. It just came out of the oven literally right before I hit the button to record again. So, you need to handle it with care. You also need to put something solid over it. You don't have to. I'm just saying you could. Now, this is a little bit small, and I don't care that much because I'm just going to flip it over onto the counter. So it doesn't really bother me that much. But you could. You could put something solid over it if you are worried. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this up. Move these guys because they're in my way. And then we're going to take hold of this pan. Flip it upside down. Okay? This is tricky. This is tricky, and you gotta do it fast. Okay, so I get on the edge of the counter, and I go 1, 2, 3, flip. You gotta be quick. Otherwise, it doesn't look elegant, but seriously, just dropping the pan is the best way to do it. So you just flip it, take the pan off, which is hard to do with those mitts on, because I really suck at it. Aha. Yes, I used a knife to do that. Don't tell anyone. All right, now we got to get this off. I want to take our parchment paper off. Remember to make sure it's not under your cake so you don't rip your cake. Kind of pry it away from the edges gently, and then gently go away from your sides. Remember, you sprayed this, I hope, with spray so that it is not, there we go. Ha! Came off. That's why you spray it, so that it comes off like that. Even then, sometimes you're not lucky. So we need more powdered sugar. Sugar the heck out of this or it's gonna stick to your tea towel. There's a reason we have it straight on a tea towel, nothing in between. There we go. Now remember, this is still a hot cake. Very, very hot. So what you need to do is start from your short edge, fold this in, okay? And you want to start rolling it up. Pretend your filling is in here. Gently, don't crack it. Gently, though if you do crack it, it's not the end of the world. Gently, gently. Roll, 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 roll. There you go. Now we're going to get our wire rack. This guy up onto our wire rack. Figure out where that seam is. There it is. Have your seam on the bottom. So I'm just going to set it like that. Now you're literally going to leave that to cool until the cake is completely cooled. Okay, because that will give it its shape. That'll give it its form, which is really nice when you're all finished. So we are going to leave that like that. While you're waiting for the couple of hours it's going to take for this to set, you want to think about your filling. I'm just actually going to do ice cream. But you could do whipped cream, you could do a frosting, you could do any kind of filling you like. Okay, you can drop chunks of nut in your filling, you could do cherries, whatever you want. So think about that while this is cooling. Think about what kind of filling you can do. I'm literally going to do ice cream because this is for my kids and they love ice cream. So we'll come back in a couple of hours when this is fully cooled and set. Don't rush it. You need to wait. So we'll come back when we're sure it's cool. All right, our cake roll has completely cooled down, so now it's time to open it back up. Be gentle, be gentle. You don't want to be yanking on it because it'll crack. Just gently unroll it. Gently, gently. You need to be gentle with it. There we go. There, because you don't want to wreck it. You work so hard on it, you don't want to wreck it now. Here's where you add your filling. I'm going to use ice cream. You can use anything you like. I'm using cookies and cream ice cream. Originally, I was going to use vanilla ice cream, and then I was going to chop up Oreos and smash them into the ice cream, and then I realized that was cookies and cream ice cream. Let's cut out the middleman here. So what you do, you decide how thick you want your layer, and you just start making your layer that thick. That's what you do. You just get some ice cream or whatever your filling is, and you just start pressing it down. Don't squish your cake. And you want kind of an even layer. So, like, this is obviously gap that I'm going to fill in. Here we go.
When shopping, I did find candy canes.
So we're just going to put a bunch of scoops. I'm not going to make you watch the entire process of me covering this in ice cream, because that would be silly. Just make a nice even layer, and we'll cut back to the video once I have this pretty much completed. Alright, so we have covered our roll in ice cream. If anyone wants to know how much ice cream I used, all of it. So the whole thing. It takes a lot of ice cream to pull this off. It takes a lot of whipped cream, a lot of icing, whatever you're using. So now we're going to roll this up, but we're going to roll it up without the tea towel. So you just start at the end, and you just start rolling gently, because it will want to crack. Gently, gently, gently. Roll it up gently. And sometimes it will crack a little bit. It's not that big a deal. Gently, 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 gently. There we go. Now what we're going to do, gather this part of the tea towel up. This is actually the lid of a Tupperware, but it's upside down. Upside down, because I'm going to put the whole Tupperware on top of it just to keep it safe. Lift that whole thing. Get rid of that tea towel. Now we have to keep that safe and keep it in the freezer for about 12 hours. So it's going to have to go into the freezer overnight. I'm going to send it downstairs to the deep freeze, and we will come back tomorrow and see how it looks, because it has to freeze overnight. So we'll come back tomorrow.
Do you want to go outside?
All right, so our Yule cake has been in the freezer for 24 hours. It actually really does need that because I used ice cream. If you used icing or whipped cream or something for the inside, you don't have to do that. So what we're going to do is the ends always look kind of messy, always. Okay, so we're going to just clean those up. We're going to clean them up just by taking our knife and just trimming them off. Now mine's frozen right through to the center, so I have to apply a fair bit of force. If you used whipped cream or whatever and it's been in the fridge or even in the cupboard, you don't need to apply as much force. And we have to do it on both sides. Now we could ice this if we wanted. We absolutely could do that. So if you want to see how pretty that looks now, nice tight roll, that's important. So we could ice this if we wanted. I'm not going to ice this because my kids asked me not to, but you could. You could ice it and you could decorate it. I'm just going to pop it on a platter and serve it right after dinner. Today, we're just going to pop it back in the freezer because it is made of ice cream and it needs to be frozen. But that is a Yule log cake, a very basic one. I didn't do any decorating or anything this year. Maybe I will in the future. But they're really easy to make, they're really fun to make, and they really do go over well. Make sure to keep your spiral nice and tight, and they'll turn out every time. See you tomorrow.